Hello, friends. So, I want to talk to you today about what we read last week, and that was chapters 7 and 8 of And Then There Were None. So, in our previous chapters, we had Anthony Marston die. Remember, he was the first person to die. He took a drink and choked and then died. Dr. Armstrong decided that it was probably cyanide, and some people thought it might be suicide because there was no cyanide in the whiskey and there was no cyanide in his glass. So, they think that he must have put it there himself. However, nobody can think of a good reason that he would want to have committed suicide. The second death was Ethel Rogers, and she did not wake up or she overslept herself. Dr. Armstrong had given her a sedative. Her husband's adamant that she never takes sleeping pills, even though she's not a great sleeper. But again, it's not that. Maybe it's suicide. Maybe her husband is trying to cover up their own murder, and they hypothesize that they murdered a woman by withholding her drugs. The end of those chapters, they started to notice that all of the china figurines of the soldiers had started to disappear in accordance to the number of deaths. So when Anthony Marston died, there was one missing soldier figurine. When Ethel died, there were then 8 figurines and 2 were missing. So there is now a theory that this is murder. The murderer is probably on the island, and they're going to go and search for the murderer. And they think it's still Ewan Owen. So they send out a search party. It is Armstrong, Lombard, and Bloor, and they all go to search the island. They're going to look and see if there's any weird caves or anything. They're going to scale down different hills and look for a potential murderer. The other people on the island, Vera is talking to Miss Brent, and Miss Brent says, okay, she did lead to somebody's death. She had a person working in her house, and that person, she said that she was a loose girl with no morals, and that she found herself in trouble. We talked about in class how this meant that she was pregnant, and she was not married. So Miss Brent basically harassed her to the point that she ended up committing suicide. She jumped off a bridge while she was pregnant. And Miss Brent said that this was not only had it been a sin that she got pregnant in the first place, but it's another sin that then she killed herself, even though it was Miss Brent who basically bullied her into doing this. The other person who confessed to murder was General MacArthur, and he says that he does feel remorse for the fact that he sent his wife's lover to battle to be killed. And he did it intentionally, and it was only because he loved his wife so much. But basically, after she lost her lover, she fell into a deep depression, and their relationship was never the same. And so he feels not only responsible for having killed her lover, but also her. At the end of these chapters, we learn that they are all alone on the island. They've searched the island. There's nobody else there. They even came back and checked the house, and they heard some creaking in a room above them that led to the servants' quarters, thinking that they were going to find the murderer because a room with a dead body in it is a pretty good hiding place. They go up there and they find that it's actually just Mr. Rogers. He's gathering his clothes, and he's like, hey, hope you don't mind if I find a different room to sleep in. Really not interested in sleeping in this room with my dead wife. Please and thank you. So that has left us with more questions than answers. There is not another person on the island, so we are down to the 8 people who remain. One of the suspects has to be one of the people on the island. It has to be one of the 8. And we are down to the 8 figurines. And so what does chapter 9 hold in store for us? Only time will tell.